wouldn't say there's anyone memorable.
I would say I was pretty bored throughout the whole movie.
What is Drifting Home? So
Okay.
Drifting Home is this anime movie done by Netflix. So it's a Netflix original anime. And basically, it's following the story of this young girl who was taken in by another, like a young boy's family, who, and she grew up a little bit with them, but like her mother eventually came back to take her back home. We see this young girl traveling back and forth to the old home where she used to live with the young boy and his grandfather, as well as his other family.
Yeah, there's definitely a focus on the two main characters. I think one of them is Kosuke. I don't remember their
You're
names, but
good. I just calling them girl and boy.
Kosuke and Natsume. There we go. Natsume. So those are the two main characters. And Natsume is having a little trouble letting go of this building that they grew up in, which
Mm-hmm.
is going to be demolished, I believe. So
Yes.
that's the building that they're on top of. And that's where they find Natsume as well. So like the whole thing is like this group of friends go into this building because they saw Natsume and was like, what is she doing?
Mm-hmm.
So they went in there for her. And then they also knew of like a ghost story about the building. And yeah, that's where the plot kind of takes off.
Yeah. So essentially, throughout the movie, we see these children trying to figure out their way to get back home on this building that is drifting out inside of the sea. But along the way, they run into this child who is inside of the building, and this child kind of is what the story is about, but also at the same time, not.
Mm-hmm.
But they eventually end up finding out who this child is and what this child, like the whole story of it all, and
Mm-hmm.
turns out major part of the story. So we won't spoil anything there. As far as the characters inside of this movie go, I wouldn't say there's anyone memorable. And nobody really stood out inside of this anime to me. I would say the plot is kind of interesting, but it's not like a wow me type of movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
imagine watching this after Silent Voice, you'll be very underwhelmed. But that's not to say that it wasn't a bad movie. Like, I personally enjoyed it while we watched it. What about you, Fluffy?
I would say I was pretty bored throughout the whole movie, but I think it's also this like director. I could be wrong, but I think it's by the same people who did the Penguin movie. And
Oh,
I did not enjoy the Penguin movie.
Penguin
I think
Highway.
both of us, yeah, I think both of
Yeah.
us hated that movie.
Yeah, that was
So
not a good
yeah.
movie.
Uh, so it's very pretty. It's
Hmm.
very like kind of, this one was definitely more whimsical and more like out there than mm, other movies, but it just didn't have that pull of, I don't know,
Hmm.
just it just
I'm
didn't have, yeah.
Yeah, I must say it was the visuals that kind of pulled me in. Normally when
Hmm.
I see like a good like poster or something where it looks kind of vibrant or something, I'm drawn in. Hence why we watched Bubble. Because of the visuals. So I like the
Yeah.
visuals that was inside of this movie, and I think that they could be inside of one of those like pretty scenes AMVs or something like that. What about you? What
Yeah.
did you think?
Yeah, I feel the same way. It had really cool scenery. I do think that it kind of limited itself with
Mhm.
being stuck in the ocean. We could really only see that building. But I mean, that was the point of the plot. They were kind of stuck on this
Mhm.
building. And then later on, it gets more interesting. You see other buildings, and then like even like a kind of
Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel, one that's floating along in the ocean. And that's interesting. But animation was fine. I
Yeah.
thought it was good.
Skip ahead if you just want to see what our review and our recommendations are. Timestamps below. Inside of this movie, historical buildings, while some of them are preserved and they're kept, because they did touch on that inside of the movie, there are other buildings who get demolished, but the stories and the richness that are inside of them, um, They're pretty persistent. And we end up seeing this building's story told through like the main characters, because essentially it was their lives that this building like cherished and took on its own. And essentially the child that we see lost at sea with the two main characters ends up being the spirit of the building, who is very attached to them and sees that one of the kids is kind of like stuck almost at the point of depression. And
Hmm.
the building is so wrapped up and involved in this child that they don't want her to get lost inside of like the depression sea or sink into darkness, which at one point she was almost about to do. But she was saved by the building spirit and then eventually her friend as well. So I thought it was an interesting plot. And like that take is what kind of drew me into the movie.
Hmm. Yeah, you definitely remember a lot more from this movie than I do. Um, I think one thing that I was annoyed with was they kept going back and forth with like there were moments when you thought they were gonna get out and then they didn't, and then they went back for someone and then were stuck at sea and you thought they were gonna die and then you thought they were going out again. It was, I don't know. I felt like it was very long for no reason. For
That is a fair point. It was a long AF
it was
movie.
very long. Like I think it could have been cut down a little bit more. Um
Mhm.
I and yeah.
Yeah.
That's my input
No,
for that.
there were some scenes that seemed unnecessary inside of the movie, such as
Hmm.
them scouting for food, them rationing out food. I mean, I it felt like there were two movies inside of this movie. The first half
Hmm.
of the movie was almost like survival skills if you were lost at sea. And then the second half of the movie was this very whimsical kind of like flashback where you get to see the two main characters, the life that they had, the I guess how the building perceives like their connection to it all. And then some of the children who got lost with them, there is another building that's connected to one of their memories, a Ferris wheel that floats by and ends up saving them. So it was kind of cool to see like all of these buildings coming forward to save these children from being in despair and being lost at sea. But
Hmm.
it did, like I said, you have a valid point. It did feel like two different movies inside of this. And
Smushed together.
yeah. One was like slice of life, how to survive at sea, and the next one was like whoa magic, like hmm.
Yeah. It took I guess it took a while for us to get to the point of like what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So I guess now we could talk
yeah,
about our ratings then.
sure.
So this movie, I actually enjoyed it. I was there sitting at sea wondering what was gonna happen. I will say the animation was what drew me in. So I'd give this a solid 6.5, 6.75. I don't know why I get so technical. I don't want to give it a 7, but I don't want to give it like a 6.5. Yeah.
I think I just don't enjoy this director's work, which is like
Ooh.
sad because like it's really beautiful. It's amazing animation. Even Penguin Highway like had really amazing
Yeah, it
animation,
was
really
very pretty.
beautiful, but it just was
But
weird. And
Penguin Highway was
Yeah,
weird for many
Penguin
different
Highway
reasons.
was really sus
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, and I just couldn't get over that. In this one, I think I was just bored.
Hmm.
I don't I didn't, yeah, I think I was just bored. So, definitely I'm a type of person if I'm like bored with a plot, like the beautifulness of it is not going to keep me. I mean, it wasn't horrible.
What you gonna rate it though?
I don't know what to rate it. It wasn't horrible. Maybe a 5. Like I'll give it a 5.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
passing. So should you watch this? Fast forward through all of the like how to survive in eating food gathering. That has
Mm,
no importance to the movie at
yeah.
all.
Mhm.
So I would say watch but skip ahead.
Okay. I recommend it. I think a lot of people would like it. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean I think the
Mm-hmm.
like general audience would like it and
Yeah.
they would enjoy it perfectly fine. So yeah, I recommend it.
All right. So thank you guys so much for watching our review. If you like videos like this, definitely give us a like. What do they say? Smash that like button below. Subscribe to our channel if you want more videos like this. Was I a good YouTuber?
Yeah,
Anyway,
that was good. That
click
was
that
good.
next video.